Good evening and welcome. This is Primetime News on TV1. I'm Tharuni Karunaratna. Here are tonight's top stories.
Newsfirst headlines. Main sponsor.
A trusted place for your fixed deposit. Valuable FD, a symbol of stability.
No threat found after bomb scare on Indian flight to Sri Lanka. Flight en route to London also checked in Germany. 11 flights received bomb threats in 24 hours. Katunayaka flight operations normal, confirms airport and aviation services. NPP kicks off series of campaign rallies for general election in Tangol.
ජනාධිපති අනුරකුමාර දිසානායක සහෝදරයා දැඩි සහෝදරත්වයෙන් පිළිගනිමින් මම නැවත සහතික කරනවා පියවරෙන් පියවර ශක්තිමත්ව මේ රට ජයග්‍රහණය සඳහා මේ වීමේ වගකීම ජාතික ජනබලවේගය අපි බාර ගන්න අපි මේක වැඩි කරනවා. මේක මගේ රට පමණක් නෙමෙයි ඔබේ රට. මේක අපේ දරුවන්ගේ අනාගතය පමණක් නෙමෙයි අපි සියලු දරුවන්ගේ අනාගතය පිළිබඳ ප්‍රශ්නය. මේක විසඳන්න නම් මේ පරම්පරාවේ අපි ඒ සඳහා වැඩ කළ යුතුයි. ඒ සඳහා මෙහෙවිය යුතුයි.
Strong parliament essential for progressive transformation for Sri Lanka, says Prime Minister. Mahinda and Ranil asked to return excess government vehicles. Drone hits Israeli Prime Minister's residence.
Newsfirst headlines. Main sponsor.
A trusted place for your fixed deposit. Valuable FD, a symbol of stability.
On to your top story this evening. Airport and Aviation Services Sri Lanka Private Limited confirmed that there is no ongoing threat following a reported bomb scare on Vistara flight UK 131, which was travelling from Mumbai to the Bandaranaike International Airport in Sri Lanka. The incident had begun when the flight's captain received a non-specific bomb threat call just 10 minutes prior to the landing. Airport and Aviation Services Sri Lanka Private Limited said that a non-specific call on a bomb threat had been reported to the captain on the flight 10 minutes before landing at the Bandaranaike International Airport. After authorities were alerted about the threat, in line with protocol, all relevant authorities were immediately informed and an emergency was declared at the Bandaranaike International Airport. The flight was scheduled to arrive at 2:51 p.m. and successfully landed at 2:49 p.m. The flight with 96 passengers and 8 crew on board were immediately evacuated from the aircraft. Upon landing, all passengers were swiftly evacuated to the terminal as a precautionary measure. Airport and Aviation Services Sri Lanka Private Limited said it worked closely with security agencies to conduct thorough checks, confirming that all individuals were safe and accounted for. Officers of the Sri Lanka Air Force, Sri Lanka Army Commando Regiment and Sri Lanka Police engaged in this joint operation. Airport and Aviation Services Sri Lanka Private Limited confirmed that there is no bomb threat following thorough investigations. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Civil Aviation of India says that over the past 24 hours, 11 flights belonging to multiple Indian airlines had received similar bomb threat calls. The Vistara flight UK 17, which was en route to London from the New Delhi International Airport, was also diverted to the Frankfurt Airport in Germany due to a similar bomb threat. In addition, one India Express flight, 5 Akasa Air flights, as well as 5 Indigo Airlines flights had received bomb threat calls. It was later revealed that these calls provided false information. Accordingly, about 50 such bomb threat calls providing false information had been received by various Indian airlines over the past week. The airlines include Air India, Indigo Airlines, Akasa Air, Vistara, SpiceJet, Star Air and Alliance Air. This resulted in situations of unrest in many airports. However, upon investigation, it was confirmed that none of those aircraft had bombs on board.
Sri Lanka Decides.
President Amarasuriya Dissanayake said that the new government budget, which is set to be presented in February and March, will emphasize 2 key initiatives: increasing public sector salaries and providing relief to those in poverty. This statement was made during the inaugural rally of the National People's Power campaign. The first of the series of rallies of the National People's Power targeting the upcoming general election was held at the Tangol Public Ground today. The rally was presided over by President Amarasuriya Dissanayake. The rally, which was themed Rata Hadana Api Ekata Malimavata, was attended by party representatives and NPP general election candidates.
ජනතාව නොවැම්බර් 14 වෙනිදා පාර්ලිමේන්තුව පිරිසිදු කරන්න කලින් සමහර අය ස්වේච්ඡාවෙන්ම පිරිසිදු වෙනවා.
Some politicians have voluntarily dropped out of the election race before the people cleanse the parliament themselves, especially in the Hambantota district. After 88 years, a certain name is not on the ballot paper. Over 60 people have voluntarily dropped out of the race. We trust the people to fulfill their duty to the best of their ability. On the 14th of November, we will lead the country towards victory through stability and strength. They want to create unrest within our camp. However, we will not panic. Our government has set a world record. We have just one president and 2 ministers. However, we did not let any activities in the country be disrupted. We have shown with our consumption that we do not support wastage. Our biggest challenge was creating economic stability. If there was any doubt about the stability of an economy under our government, we have now laid the foundation to build a stable economy, dismantling all such doubts. We plan on presenting a vote on account in December, and by February or March, we plan on presenting a draft of the budget. We will be paying attention to increase salaries of state sector employees through the budget. We have paid attention to allowances provided for school students as well. I can assure you that in that budget, the allowances for those in poverty and disabled individuals will be increased. 2025 will be the year with the highest number of tourist arrivals. Some keep asking if we caught any thieves. To them, I must tell, do not whine when we start catching thieves. There are about 400 files that have been closed. We took a close look at them. Some are stuck in the Attorney General's department. Some are stuck in the Criminal Investigation Department. We have instructed all relevant institutions to reopen all those files and systematically take action to file cases against those responsible for committing certain actions. The NPP government is committed to penalize those who commit crimes and frauds. Our country has signed certain agreements that are not healthy for it. We have informed the other concerned parties in those agreements that we need to review them once again. However, in order to do that, we need to convince them that the NPP government has a strong mandate of the people. We will not hesitate to review these agreements and amend them to suit the country better. However, we get the chance to amend those agreements during discussions based on the strength of the mandate the people give us. When we were holding discussions with the IMF, we made it clear to them that we may have to take certain decisions based on the nature of the mandate of the people. Make sure to give the NPP government a strong mandate on the 14th of November. Some people dream. They think that our government will collapse in 3 to 6 months. We will launch the Clean Sri Lanka program and make Sri Lanka the global symbol of cleanliness within the next few years. Some say that we are taking revenge on them. No one has the right to take revenge on another. However, we will not allow politicians to waste millions worth of public property and resources. 2 past presidents had been given 16 vehicles and 1 ambulance each. We asked them to promptly return them. As per the existing circulars, they are entitled to 3 vehicles, and that we shall give them. However, we have appointed a committee to amend that circular as well. The government will stop sponsoring former presidents. If anyone is facing a security threat, we will provide them with security. The most recent former president had sent us a letter. He had requested 163 security personnel, 20 odd vehicles and 30 umbrellas. Should we give that to them? No. Keep in mind that we will not give what they want. After years of wasting public funds, they now believe they are entitled to it anyways, that it is a right of theirs. It is not a right that they are entitled to. Why would you have an ambulance at home? Do not issue false statements claiming that you have threats to security. The NPP government acts according to the mandate of the people. A large number of licenses have been issued, permitting people to have firearms and weapons in possession. Johnson Fernando has 6 or 7 weapons in his possession. So does Yoshita Rajapaksa. The owner of Avantgarde has been given 8. Can anyone utilize government weapons for private purposes? They should hand it all back over to this government.
ජොන්ස්ටන් පනාන්දුට ආයුධ 6ක් 7ක් දීලා තියෙනවා. යෝසිතට දීලා තියෙනවා. ඇවන්ගාඩ්ට ආයුධ 8ක් දීලා තියෙනවා. ආණ්ඩුවේ ආයුධ තියාගෙන එම කරන්න පුළුවන් ද කාටවත්? ඒ ඔක්කොම ආපහු ආණ්ඩුවට බාර දෙන්න ඕන.
Colombo District Leader of the National People's Power, Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya says that a strong parliament is required for the country to be changed progressively. She made the statement joining the event held in Maharagama to commence NPP campaign activities for the Colombo district.
The Prime Minister, along with several other MPP Colombo district candidates, met with Maharagama electorate party members today.
ඒ අපි ලැබපු ජයග්‍රහණය ඓතිහාසික ජයග්‍රහණයක් කියන එක අද වෙනකොට ඔබ සියලු දෙනාම දන්නවා. ඒ අපි වෙනස් කරේ ජනාධිපතිවරයෙක් විතරක් නෙවෙයි.
You all know about the historic victory we marked this year. We not only changed the president of the country, we also changed the political culture. You all were part of that effort. It was no easy task. We defeated those who were in power for 76 years, leaving all of them in disbelief. The NPP is no longer a political party. It is a movement of the people. It is a movement of the people, led by the people. We now have another task. Winning the presidential election is not enough. We know how skilled and capable Comrade Anurakkumara Dissanayake is. However, we could lead this country under his leadership and execute renovational transformations only through a strong cabinet of ministers and a progressive, strong parliament. We have a few more days to work towards it. This time, we should create a true change within the parliament. What did you all say during the Aragalaya? That all 225 should be sent home. About half of them have voluntarily left by now. They know that they cannot get in this time. They know that thieves, tricksters and liars cannot make it into parliament as public representatives. They dropped out of the race voluntarily as they did not want to face defeat. They have eased our work. We have to select the best team. The power to do that is in your hands. You know that we will not break your trust ever. We are systematically carrying out that political transformation we promised. You can see that. If just 3 of us can make such a big change, how much can we do with a strong parliament? What can we not do? We can rebuild this country. We can create the change this country needed all this time. Send in an intellectual team with political experience. I trust you to do that. I wish you all the strength to do that.
විශ්වාසය ඔබ සියලු දෙනා එක කරයි කියලා ඒ සඳහා ඔබ සියලු දෙනාටම ශක්තිය ධෛර්යය ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරමින් මම නිහඬ වෙනවා. ජාතික ජන බලවේගයට ජය වේවා. සියලු දෙනාට බොහෝ ස්තුතියි.
The Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna national organizer Nama Rajapaksa said that he is working to appoint a strategic committee targeting the upcoming general election.
We hope to appoint a strategic committee within this week to manage the upcoming general election and the Pradeshiya Sabha elections. We will use this week to decide on our party's future decisions in order to win this election and the upcoming Pradeshiya Sabha election. We are trying to secure a majority of the seats in the parliament. A group of new candidates are representing the SLPP this time. We are bringing about a program to bring success to their political future.
The United National Party's Galle District Electoral Balamandala meeting was convened today under the leadership of party chairman Vajirabe Wardana.
We all came together and agreed not to change this course. The people have made a change. Now the responsibility lies with the public. When future challenges arise, they cannot simply turn back to us. Each person must take responsibility for themselves. It's surprising that they don't even acknowledge this. We've consistently said that poverty cannot be alleviated through more poverty. Yet people continue to strive to eliminate poverty with the very conditions that caused it. Now we have a champion for the poor, government of the poor, and a president for the poor. However, the voters are not impoverished. Take note of that. We'll see next year during Vesak if they will light lanterns. I believe the entire nation will once again face difficulties.
We're just 25 days away from the general election. Here are views expressed in the political arena.
Before the ballot.
In less than a month, the National People's Power has begun fulfilling its manifesto policies one by one, bringing noticeable change. However, much work remains. We aim to build an economy that ensures a high standard of living and to develop an educational system that prepares our children for a new world. Our goal is to create a nation we can proudly call Sri Lanka. This commitment is why the NPP is contesting in this election. There's no problem. The concern is that the things mentioned are not happening. People said that these 225 are not good and it was made up of an old set of politicians. People also say that a new team needs to come in and that the parliament will function well only when new people are elected. They said young candidates will enter the race. But the young candidate from the Hambantota district is already over 70 years old. We have a significant opportunity in the upcoming elections to address the pressing issues faced by the people. Our party is presenting new faces, and this is a chance for the public to embrace change. There are seasoned politicians who represent the people. They know the needs of the people from rural Sri Lanka. Those voices are represented in the parliament. We all believe that the seasoned politicians must be in parliament. Those who can build the country practically and those who can understand the practicality of politics must go to the parliament. A group called Viatmaga came in with Gotabaya Rajapaksa. They destroyed all Rajapaksas including Gotabaya Rajapaksa. As former President Wickremesinghe said, it is impossible to create a balanced parliament by bringing in the corrupt members of the Pohottuwa. Therefore, what's needed is a balanced group that can engage with the world and possesses creative capabilities. Otherwise, if the belief is that bringing in former local council members from the JVP can somehow boost the economy, provide public support and increase production, then that's a mistake. Families traditionally involved in corrupt politics have experienced defeat in presidential elections. Now these individuals are fearful of facing defeat again in the general election. If we don't send experienced people to parliament, this won't be possible. We are talking about over 70 years of experience. Should we really have new people who know nothing sitting in parliament? Would you vote for someone who you don't know? Please understand this, because Anurukumara Disanayake was on the path to the win. You all voted for him. Now there are people wanting to go to the parliament. Who are these people? What are they capable of? Don't send people you don't know to the parliament.
Yes sir, no sir,
instead of sending a group of people who say yes sir, no sir to the parliament, which would severely harm the country's democracy, let's build a parliament filled with leaders who can genuinely develop policies that everyone understands. I'm asking the people of this country, why have you continued to vote based on color, party, religion or ethnicity for so long? This mentality persists because politicians often gain votes simply by attending funerals. Why aren't you moving away from this mindset? Let's vote for intelligent and capable individuals who can actually do meaningful work. A public representative must be sent to parliament and not a party representative. People are mindful about their decisions. You can't just blindly mark ballots for a party like a bunch of blind followers without knowing what you are doing. We are not ready to support unqualified people in parliament. That's why we believe that people will make intelligent decisions. For the first time in history, we have the opportunity to establish good governance. Instead of having rulers who plundered the wealth and resources of the public, we can bring in public representatives who make sacrifices for the benefit of the people. The citizens of this country have won this opportunity. We won't allow anyone to turn back the victories that the people have achieved.
Before the ballot.
Acting Inspector General of Police Priyantha Veerasuriya said that the police will be able to carry out their responsibilities effectively during the upcoming election, free from any political interference.
Acting Inspector General of Police Priyantha Veerasuriya expressed these views during a visit to the Northern Province while engaging in discussions regarding the role of Sri Lanka Police in the electoral process. Present at the meeting were the OICs of police stations from Kilnochi and Mullaitivu, along with district secretaries and assistant election officials.
Our experience shows that the most challenging duties arises during the post-election period. However, with the outcomes of this year's presidential election and the current government, there has been a significant shift in public perception. Unlike in the past, we have not encountered unrest. Therefore, it is critical to sustain this environment. To achieve this, it is imperative to uphold the law and ensure its proper enforcement. The extent of the police's influence in certain situations is known to you. There are pressures involved when attempting to intervene or prevent incidents. We currently face no such challenges. We can effectively implement the law during this election without any external influence. I believe we do not face any unique challenges in the Northern Province. I am confident that the election laws can be enforced very effectively.
Mahinda Rajapaksa and Ranil Wickremesinghe have been notified to return the excess government vehicles that they have in their possession. The Department of Government Information said that former President Mahinda Rajapaksa has returned 8 government vehicles that were in his possession. Director General of the Department of Government Information issued a statement saying that former President Mahinda Rajapaksa still has 8 more government vehicles in his possession. The statement adds that former President Ranil Wickremesinghe has 11 government vehicles in his possession. Under the Presidential Privileges Act No. 4 of 1986, Mahinda Rajapaksa and Ranil Wickremesinghe have been notified to return the excess vehicles in their possession. The Director General of the Department of Government Information emphasized in the statement that nothing officially entitled to the former presidents have been taken away from them. Commissioner General of Elections Saman Sriratnayake held a media briefing today to clarify details about the upcoming local government elections.
You know that during the previous local government elections, we had advanced up to the point of issuing postal ballots. Therefore, we only need around 35 to 40 days. We should be able to hold local government elections again within that time frame. The Election Commission operates under the existing law. Accordingly, we are working based on the current local government law. We are acting in compliance with the law. A court ruling has been issued. The Election Commission must act in accordance with that court ruling. Therefore, what is discussed in various forums and places is not relevant. We are strictly implementing the written law that has been formally ratified. Compliance with the law is a political party's responsibility. If a candidate passes away, there is a possibility to substitute someone in their place. There are no issues regarding this under the law. Crossovers and other matters are only manageable within the legal framework. Interpretation of the law can differ from person to person. Therefore, we as the Election Commission act according to the law. Any party that finds itself a problematic solution can approach the courts for interpretation of the law.
Newsfirst with the people.
An event to celebrate the 78th Independence Day of India was held in Colombo yesterday.
The event was organized by the Sri Lanka India Society. Minister of Foreign Affairs Vijay Herath was the chief guest at the event. Indian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka Santosh Jha and Attorney General Parinda Ranasinghe were among those who were present at the event.
Close ties between the two countries, two nations, holds immense promise for the future. The total two-way trade has increased over the years. Beyond traditional trade, we are also witnessing a growing interest in investment and technology exchange. Indian companies are increasingly investing in such key sectors as economies in the global south. Sri Lanka values the partnership with India in the economic front.
What to say of the India-Sri Lanka relationship? I think I've been here for more than 10 months now and have said quite a lot. But frankly speaking, for us, cooperating with each other is mandated by the realities of our existence. We are intertwined by geography, by our prosperity, our future, our history, our tradition, anything that we can speak of. That is the kind of unity that we have, and that is the kind of very, very fundamental sort of basis that we have in the relationship that, like it or not, whims and fancies of people cannot change it. We cannot be, thinking in terms of living apart. That's not even crosses your mind, cannot be even imagined, because that's very, very unreal, unnatural, and that is where I think when we say we are deeply intertwined, deeply interlinked, and having no choice but to cooperate. This is where I come from. And it is a very honestly felt feeling.
INS Kalpani, a fast attack craft belonging to the Indian Navy, arrived at the port of Colombo on a formal visit today. The Sri Lankan Navy welcomed the visiting fast attack craft in compliance with naval traditions. The 49-meter-long Car Nicobar class fast attack craft is manned by a crew of 70. During the stay of INS Kalpani in the island, her crew members are expected to visit some of the tourist attractions in the country. The fast attack craft is scheduled to depart the island on the 28th of October. Now, a suspect has been arrested at the Bandaranaike International Airport in Katunayake for the possession of over 10 kilograms of crystal methamphetamine, commonly known as ice. The arrest was made during a raid conducted by customs officials. The suspect had travelled to Sri Lanka from Malaysia. Customs spokesperson Sivali Arugoda said that drugs were concealed in packets containing tea leaves. The estimated value of the seized drugs is 250 million rupees. The arrested suspect is a 35-year-old resident of Demetagoda. Further investigations related to the incident are being carried out by the Bandaranaike International Airport Police Narcotics Division.
A trusted place for your fixed deposit. Valuable FD, a symbol of stability.
Railway operations along the Colombo-Batticaloa line that were disrupted due to a collision involving a herd of wild elephants and a fuel tanker train resumed this morning.
Railway operations along the Colombo-Batticaloa route, which were disrupted after a fuel tank train derailed due to a collision involving a herd of elephants, resumed this morning following repairs. The accident yesterday claimed the lives of 2 wild elephants after they were hit by the fuel tanker train travelling from Kolonnawa to Batticaloa. Significant damage was inflicted on the railway line due to the collision. The locomotive and 4 fuel tankers were also derailed. According to the Department of Wildlife Conservation, another injured wild elephant calf that received treatment following the collision has been released into the Mineria National Park. A special committee has also been appointed to conduct a thorough investigation. The Department of Railways has said that the committee's report is expected within 2 weeks. Speaking at a media briefing, the Coastal Railway Passengers Association chairman Gunapala Vitharana highlighted that the Department of Railways had the opportunity to address a critical issue earlier, but failed to give it the necessary attention.
දුම්රිය දෙපාර්තමේන්තුව අපේ සමිතිය කැඳෙව්වම ඒ විසඳුමක් වශයෙන් මම යෝජනා කරා දුම්රියේ පාරේ පාලමක් යටින් අඩි 18ක් ගැඹුරට හාරලා අඩි අලියෙක් උස අඩි 11යි අඩි 18ක්.
Previously, the Department of Railways convened our association. During that meeting, I proposed a solution to construct a corridor at a depth of 18 feet beneath the railway tracks, which would accommodate elephants crossing underneath. If we built a corridor that's 20 feet wide and 1,420 feet long, it would allow the animals to travel safely while the trains pass above. This arrangement would prevent such accidents. I presented this proposal to the department in 2019. Not only did I present it, but I also committed to overseeing the construction of the corridor to guarantee the safe passage of wildlife beneath the railway. If we were to travel from here to Colombo, would there be any rivers flowing under the railway line? It's quite straightforward. A significant number of elephants died due to train collisions. There have been numerous incidents of train derailments recently. Just recently, 8 fuel tankers derailed from the railway line, resulting in a major disaster. Had these proposals been implemented, such calamities could have been avoided.
ඒ වගේමයි දුම්රියත් පෙරළුණු අවස්ථා කීපයක් තියෙනවා මේක තමයි දුම්රිය මැදිරි 8ක්ම තෙල් ටැංකි 8ක්ම පෙරළුණා ලොකු විනාශයක් වුණා මේ විනාශය නවත්ත ගන්න තිබුණා මේව කරගත්තා නම්.
Meanwhile, environmentalist Dr. Ajanta Pereira emphasized that stringent action should be taken against the railway department officials concerning this incident.
ඔව් ඇත්තටම දුම්රිය දෙපාර්තමේන්තුව කිසිසේත්ම උත්සාහයක් ගත්තේ නැහැ පහුගිය වකවාණු වල ක්‍රමවේදයක් සකස් කරන්නට අලින් එනවනම් දුම්රිය දෙසට ඇවිදගෙන
The Department of Railways has not made any efforts in recent times to establish a protocol to safeguard the animals. If elephants approach the railway, there should be an effective sensory system in place. However, despite numerous reports, the Railway Department, no measures have been implemented. This indicates that the Railway Department has failed to execute any plans to protect these animals or ensure railway safety. We have discussed this issue multiple times with both the Railway Department and the Wildlife Office. They dismissed every recommendation we made. We have consistently offered viable technological solutions. The accountability for this incident rests not only with the driver present that day, but also with the relevant authorities. They must examine whether any errors were made as mistakes indeed occurred.
ඒට හා සම්බන්ධ සාමාන්‍යාධිකාරීතුමා පවා ඔවුන් ඇත්ත වශයෙන්ම නීතිය ඉදිරියට ගෙනල්ලා ඒ නීතිය ඉදිරියේ බලන්න අවශ්‍යයි. ඔවුන්ගේ මේට වැරද්දක් සිදු වෙලා තියෙනවා නේද කියලා. මොකද ඒ වැරද්ද ඇත්ත වශයෙන්ම සිදු වෙලා තියෙනවා.
A trusted place for your fixed deposit. Valuable FD, a symbol of stability.
Gammadda, improving lives, elevating communities. Constructing essential bridges that connect villages in Ampara, Dehiyattakondia, in Rithi Maliadda, Badulla. A new bridge will improve daily travel for over 600 residents in Koleyaya and Aldenia. In Mahyanganaya, another bridge will provide critical access over the Unagala Oya, meeting the needs of local families. Committed to connecting communities and fostering progress across Sri Lanka. Gammadda, Sri Lanka's most impactful rural development movement.
For the people, by the people. Gammadda.
A Christmas cake mixing ceremony brought the festive cheer to Colombo. Colombo yesterday hosted a charming Christmas cake mixing ceremony, an event that ignited the festive spirit and delighted attendees' taste buds. Organised by the Cinnamon Grant, the ceremony showcased culinary artistry while marking the official start of the holiday season. The event attracted enthusiastic participation from both locals and visitors, all eager to witness the traditional cake mixing process. Participants joyfully combined various ingredients with rich syrups, creating a fragrant blend destined for this year's Christmas cakes. Now an eagerly anticipated annual tradition, the Christmas cake mixing ceremony at the Cinnamon Grant brings together the community in celebration. Moving on to news overseas, a drone was launched towards Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's home in the northern Israeli town of Caesarea on Saturday. His spokesperson said that the premier was not in the vicinity and that there were no casualties. a drone had been launched towards the private residence of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in the coastal town of Caesarea. His office said, quote, "The Prime Minister and his wife were not at the location and there were no injuries in the incident," unquote. It comes after the Israeli military said 3 drones were launched from Lebanon into Israel early on Saturday morning, with one hitting a building in Caesarea. The Israeli government has not said whether the building was part of the Prime Minister's residence nor the extent of any damage. There were no casualties reported according to the Israeli ambulance service, and police said explosions had been heard in Caesarea. The drone attack was not immediately claimed by the Lebanese Iran-backed group Hezbollah, which has been trading fire with Israel since last October, or any other militant group. The attack comes days after Yahya Sinwar, the architect of the Hamas October 7, 2023 attack on Israel that triggered the war in Gaza, was killed by Israeli forces following a year-long manhunt. On Friday, at least 44 people were killed and more than 80 wounded in Israeli attacks that hit several houses in Jabalia, the largest of Gaza's 8 historic refugee camps. The Hamas-run Gaza government media office said the death toll from the strikes could rise because some people were believed to be trapped under the rubble. According to reports in Gaza, at least 42,500 people have been killed and 99,546 wounded in Israeli attacks since the 7th of October 2023. The highly anticipated ODI series between the West Indies and Sri Lanka is set to kick off tomorrow. The 3-match ODI series between the West Indies and Sri Lanka is set to kick off tomorrow at the Pallekele International Cricket Stadium. The Sri Lankan team, led by Charit Tasalanka, features a strong lineup including Kusal Mendis, Pathum Nissanka, Kamindu Mendes, Banindu Hasaranga and Mahesh Theekshana. Having recently triumphed in the T20 series against the West Indies, the Sri Lankans enter the competition with a confident mindset. On the other side, the West Indies team, captained by Shai Hope, include Alzari Joseph, Roston Chase, Brandon King, Evan Lewis, Gudakesh Moti and Romero Shepherd. Both teams engaged in training sessions today at the Pallekele Stadium, culminating in a ceremony where the trophy for the series was unveiled in the presence of the team captains. The first ODI match is scheduled to kick off tomorrow at 2:30 p.m.
What I'm trying to do is create a positive environment within the team and continue achieving series wins. This way we can peak at the right time as the World Cup approaches. We hope to win by strategically planning for each match. Winning the T20 series was definitely a morale boost. The vibe within the team is really positive. There's a consistent winning vibe, so I believe that gives us a slight advantage.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News for tonight. Thank you for watching. Take care. Good night.